Welcome to History of the Houses. This is your virtual guide to the world of Vengeance Reign. In the first episode, we're going to cover the land of Elkeer and all the details you'll need to know about the kingdoms and their history.
Shall we begin?
Elkeer is a large country about the size of America, though completely surrounded by water, much like Australia. Elkeer is surrounded by 4 different oceans. The ocean of the north is known as the Black Sea for its dark color and vicious currents. The ocean of the south is known as the Cloudy Sea for its murky water that cannot be swam in due to the appearance of dangerous creatures who snatch horses even on the shore. The East Sea is known as the Shivering Sea for its freezing temperatures. In the deepest parts of the ocean, it's said that a horse could turn to ice in moments. Finally, to the west is the Broad Sea, which is the largest of the oceans. It is unknown what is beyond the Broad Sea, but most say it knows no end. Elkeer is the only explored mass of land aside from Iran, another large country to the south which is not under the rule of the crown. The High Islands is off of the north of Elkeer and is considered a part of it, despite the fact that it is a separate island. Elkeer is separated into 4 major regions: the Northerlands, the Sutherlands, the Easterlands, and the Westerlands. Each region has a warden who has the most power over it and is responsible for controlling the entire territory, though the king has the most power. The wardens can be considered kings of their portions of land, though are considered lords of their own territories. For example, Tarashi Shirin is the warden of the Northerlands, though considered the High Lord of Ravensdale. Neptune Castiel is the warden of the Westerlands, and Wyan Denrock was formerly the warden of the Easterlands, though since his death, there has been no warden. House Alora is attempting to negotiate terms with House Falcon in order for Dyron Alora, the eldest Alora colt, to become the warden when he comes of age. In the Sutherlands, Variat Winmar of House Winmar is the warden. The Great Houses are the houses of Elkeer which hold the most power. The most powerful of the horses currently is House Falcon, who sit on the throne. House Falcon resides in Blacksvale in the south, and also have control over smaller cities such as Oran, Southend, and Evercreek. The rest of the great houses consist of House Shirin in Ravensdale, House Everian in Green Isles, House Alora in Stonesea, House Winmar in Sharpson, House Castiel in Darkfront, as well as House Mentith, who has control over the whole of the High Islands. Former great houses include House Denrock and House Goldiel. House Goldiel previously had the crown and sat upon the throne in Blacksvale, but they were later overthrown by House Falcon in the War of Gold. Their house name was destroyed and all of their lineage was thought to be slaughtered. House Denrock is another fallen house who previously resided in Sunlake and had control over the Easterlands and ruled major cities such as the Stormy Shore, Evanport, and the Claw. They were also defeated by House Falcon, who overthrew them in an attempt to claim Sunlake and Evanport. Major territories in Elkeer are ruled by the great houses. The major cities and towns are the homes of the great houses, though the houses also rule over more cities within their territory. The largest cities are the following: Blacksvale of the Sutherlands, where House Falcon lives, Stonesea of the Easterlands, where House Alora lives, Darkfront of the Westerlands, where House Castiel lives, Sharpson of the Sutherlands, where House Winmar lives, Green Isles of the Northerlands, where House Everian lives, and Ravensdale of the Northerlands, where House Shirin lives. The High Islands is also a large territory where House Mentith lives, but it is across a passage within the Black Sea known as the Crypt, and is not physically connected to the land of Elkeer. Other important territories are the ports where ships can sail in and out of. There are several large ports in Elkeer. Dravensport is the largest port in Elkeer, controlled by House Shirin of the Northerlands. Evanport, previously controlled by House Denrock, now belongs to House Falcon. Though there are many ports on the High Islands, Trident's Edge is the largest and most well-known port. The final port is Birdport, which is a free port, not controlled by any specific house and not under the rule of the crown. The royal family always resides in Blacksvale and controls every kingdom in Elkeer aside from the free cities. The royal family always consists of a king, a queen, a king's guard, and the hand of the king. The current royalty is King Lallet of House Falcon, Queen Kitana of House Shirin, and the hand of the king is Sir Variat of House Winmar. The King's Guard consists of the king's most trusted knights. The king also controls the largest army in Elkeer, known as the Shadow Brigade. During the Days of Stone, various houses rebelled against the crown and newfound royalty. They refused to be controlled when they previously had not been, and so they set themselves free. There are two large portions of free territories in Elkeer, which are not controlled by the royal family and can have their own government. The houses who live in these areas control only their homeland and no other territories within the free region. The horses in those houses are free to call themselves kings and queens as they have their own government, while houses under the control of the crown are known as lords and ladies. Free houses include House Gelric and House Genter, who live in the free territories in the Easterlands. The large cities which are free within the Easterlands are Iron Light and Ivory Hill, as well as Eagle Crest, which is now used as a passage to move freely from the Northerlands to the Easterlands. The second portion of the free territories are in the Westerlands and include Thornthick, Sandtree, and the Broken Hills. There are various passages within the free territories that can be used to pass peacefully from different regions. The tidal trail along the west coast is one, and the Freedom Pass through the center of the territory is the second. These free Westerland territories are the perfect homes for unofficial houses, which reside there without any question by the royal family. Claim territories are claimed by unofficial houses and groups who defend and control the territory as if it was their own, though it is usually ruled by a higher house. The claim territories include Warrenvale in the Westerlands, Evercreek in the Sutherlands, as well as two free cities, Thornthick and the Broken Hills. House Fane controls Warrenvale with the permission of House Castiel, and it is used as a slave marketplace and where the Grinner, Tior Fane, takes hostages. House Rice resides in Evercreek, ruled by House Falcon, as Evercreek is inside their territory border. The free cities of Thornthick and the Broken Hills are claimed by two unofficial groups, the Celtricks and the Brothers of Snow. The Celtricks controls Thornthick and protect it with their lives, not allowing a single horse inside their borders. The Brothers of Snow are much more lenient with their ruling within the Broken Hills and choose to let horses pass through freely. They do their best to hide and keep themselves out of contact with passing horses. The Days of Scales were the first known time period in Elkeer. It is the days where the dragons worked in harmony with the horses to build Elkeer and create a stable environment. There was little war and no royalty had been chosen at the time, but soon horses sought power and brought Elkeer to the War of Stone. The dragons were slaughtered and Elkeer moved into the Days of Stone. The Days of Stone was the time period in Elkeer where they had finally set up a concrete justice system and royal family. There were many battles and wars, and the whole of Elkeer was said to have been dark for thousands of years, winter the only season they had seen. It was said that with the slaughter of the dragons, the light had died from the kingdom, and the flame that was once there had burned out along with the scaled creatures. The Days of Gold came thousands of years after the Days of Stone, when the sun finally returned. House Goldiel now had the crown and would for hundreds of years to follow. There was finally peace within the realm, and the constant wars had come to a stop. This was a hopeful time for Elkeer, and the kingdoms had time to rebuild and strengthen themselves. During the end of the Days of Gold, House Falcon overthrew House Goldiel and ridded them of their lineage and bloodlines, bringing the peaceful time to a close and taking Elkeer to the Days of Flame. The Days of Flame is the current time period Elkeer is in. It is a dark time, but there is still hope that burns in the ashes of the fallen House Goldiel. What the Days of Flame will bring, the horses of Elkeer will have to see. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of History of the Houses, where you learned much about the land of Elkeer. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up for more informational videos about Vengeance Reign, and subscribe to watch the episodes. I hope you enjoyed, thank you very much for watching. Shine on, Vixens!